So if you can accept that brilliant concept, and then you add to it your understanding that here in this sifting through the variety of your life experience, you're constantly knowing what you want. Preferences are born within you all day, every day. You can't have a conversation with anyone. You can't eat a meal. You can't look around. You can't cease preferring. You can't cease preferring improvement. You can't cease preferring more than what is, because your eternal orientation is this never-ending expansion. When you accept that you are eternal, that means you've accepted that you are forever. It means that, and that must mean that you have accepted that you are expanding, because you can't stand still. Nothing does. So when you couple our brilliant analogy of looking forward rather than down through the floorboards of your car, and you begin to take this broad view of this eternal being that you are, then if you can incorporate this understanding to acknowledge that what is always, only, ever the bouncing off place for more. But it's not just that. It's that all of the joy and all of the exhilaration is looking toward what's coming. Now, it's really, 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 really fun when you get oriented and pointed in the direction of what you've become. And we want to tell you why. Because this larger part of you who remains non-physically focused is holding steadily the vibrations that you have been incrementally providing. In other words, the larger part of you remains non-physically focused, while this part that you know as you is here. But this important part that you know is here, as you in this personality, sifting through the contrast, knowing what you don't want, knowing what you do want, knowing what you don't want, knowing what you do want. If you don't want it a little, you'd want it a little. If you really don't want it, you really want it. In other words, this contrast serving all of you, all of us, perfectly. So these desires are moving forward, and the larger part of you is becoming the vibrational essence of that desire, and then projecting that new knowledge, that new understanding, that new, here's the word, beingness, right back to you. Which means when you want it, source is it and reflects it to you. That's what that instant manifestation is that you've been talking about. You want it, source is it, reflects it back to you. But the question is, when source is reflecting it back to you, where are you? Where are you? And you say, well, I'm doing my part, Abraham. I'm doing the part that I think I was sent here to do. I'm sifting through the contrast. I'm sifting through the contrast. I'm sifting through the contrast. And whoop-de-doo, I launched a rocket and you rode it, but I'm still justifying the rocket. I'm still explaining to everyone why I want that, because I hate this. And we say, that's that thing you do. You get hung up on the contrast. You don't use the contrast in quite the way you intended. You intended to know what you want and then go with the flow of it. And when you go with the flow of what you want, so that you are vibrationally up to speed with the source within you, now as source reflects back through you, you're right there in the perfect vibrational stance to receive the fullness of what you have asked for. And now you have instant manifestation. So what do we mean by an instant manifestation? We mean you have instantly adjusted your vibration upward to allow the complete incorporation into what you've asked for, and now your point of attraction matches your desire. And what happens when your point of attraction matches your desire? Everything that comes to you must reflect that vibrational essence. It's law. It has to be. And if it isn't happening that way, it's because of what we just demonstrated to you. You're hung up on explaining why you want that, but you're not a match to the that you want. You're a match to the why you don't want the thing that caused you to launch the thing that you want. That was really good. You're not a match to the what you want. You're a match to the reason that you wanted it, but the reason that you want it is because you don't have it. And when you're a match to the reason that you don't have it, you're a match to the absence of it. And when you're a match to the absence of it, you can't have it, and that's why you don't feel good. And that's why you don't allow the fullness of who you are, who has it and is it and bees it, to be right there with you now. You've got it pinched off because you're a match to the absence of it and to the instead of to the having of it. Couldn't be clearer, could it? Couldn't be clearer. Doesn't that just make perfect sense to you? Aren't you really wanting to be a vibrational match to what you're wanting? So then, does it not occur to you, if this is true, and it is, everything that you or anyone has ever wanted or ever will want, you want it because you believe you will feel better in the having of it, then must it not be true that if you are able to feel good in the not having of it, that then it must come? In other words, if it's true that everything you want is because you want to feel good, then isn't the true manifestation that you're reaching for, isn't the manifestation that you're looking for the emotional response to the thing you're trying to create? Isn't it? Now, some of you are afraid to say yes to that because you think we're going to then announce to you, good, then no longer want anything. Just be the spiritual beings that you are. And yeah, that's pretty much what we're saying. When you give up the intoxication of the manifestation and you let the conjuring of the emotion be the manifestation that you're looking for, then you have accomplished instant manifestation. And then you say, yeah, but what about the car? What about the lover? What about the pile of money? What about the physical conditions? What about? And we say, it has to come. That all must come. That all must come. But if you make your emotion conditional upon it coming, it can't come if your emotion is tied to the absence of it. So how do you make your emotion tied to something that you don't have? That's the kicker, isn't it? How do I make my emotion be a response to something that isn't yet? And we say, because you're smart. You have the ability to do that. Sometimes you have to get more general. In other words, sometimes you have to remind yourself, well, I believe in law of attraction. It's proven itself to me over and over again. I believe in my ability to focus. I've showed myself that on many occasions. I trust in the universal laws. I've practiced it enough to know. I have enough evidence. I get it that when I'm in a bad mood, things don't go well for me. And when I'm in a good mood, things go better for me. I get it that my mood affects things. And since I've been paying attention to that, I really get that. So even though I am the first to admit that I cannot yet very well control my mood, I am willing to admit that my mood does affect what comes next. Well, that's a general statement, and it's a very powerful first step, isn't it? So when we ask you, and we're going to do it here just because we want to, why do you want what you want? Why do you want what you want? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? If you meet someone on the street and they say, hello, what do you want? What do you tell them? Well, now we've coached you into the perfect answer. But what kind of things do you tell normal people? Well, I want a better job. And I want my body to look better or feel better. Or I want more money. I want more freedom. I want to do more fun things. I want to have the freedom to travel. I want a better living environment. I want my... And of course you do say, I want to be happy. But most of the time when you're thinking of manifestations, you're thinking of stuff, aren't you? Or conditions, aren't you? You're thinking of something other than your emotion over which you have complete and immediate control. And we just want to convey to you that if you can leave this gathering accepting personally for yourself that what you really are wanting to be the creator of is the emotion which you have the ability to conjure no matter where you are within 10 minutes, we're not kidding you. And that if you will, in fact, deliberately conjure the good feeling emotion within 10 minutes, whenever anything is out of whack for you, that you will begin to show yourself the power of your point of attraction. And we want to put this to you in a stronger way than we ever have. We want you to show yourself the power of our point of attraction. Our point of attraction. Because you're not in this alone. You weren't alone when you came, and you're not alone now. And you're not alone when you're moving through the contrast, and we're not talking about the other billions of people that you're interacting with or the circumstances and events that are around you. We're talking about the fullness of source energy who is present within you now, who has a powerful point of attraction. Now,
I assert that if you're not in the present moment, you're running a program, right? And paying attention is being present. And it's a skill just like anything else. The more you practice it, the better you get at it. And you know when someone's present with you in your life because they're paying attention to you. And you know when they're not present with you because they're not paying attention to you. So, where you place your attention is where you place your energy. So if you have all of your attention in the present moment, you're conserving a lot of energy to create with. If I'm talking to you and you're thinking about where you're going to go for lunch and who you're going to go with and how you're going to get there, and I'm talking to you, you left the present moment and your attention went to some future. And your energy will go down and you won't be able to comprehend what I said. If you start thinking about what you should have said at the staff meeting 3 days ago, and I'm talking to you and your mind is back in the past, you're siphoning energy out of the present moment into the past. So people are constantly siphoning their energy into a familiar past or a predictable future because that's where their attention is. And the stronger the emotions that we feel to certain problems and conditions in our life, the more we pay attention to them. Right. So we give our power away to our ex. We give our power away to that big problem. And that's creative energy that we should be able to use to create a new future. So then when a person's sitting in a meditation and they're doing absolutely nothing, and it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and their body for the last 10 years has been going in traffic and getting angry and frustrated in traffic, and now they're sitting in a meditation at 8 o'clock in the morning, the body's going to say, hey, you're off schedule. I'm used to suffering and getting angry here. Yeah. So the body's going to start looking for that emotion, and it's going to start influencing the mind, and you're going to start getting images and memories just so you could feel that emotion. Like now the person's back in the past. But if they become aware that they're siphoning energy out of the present moment into the past, and they settle the body back down into the present moment, that's a victory. And those victories add up. And you're telling the body in that moment that it's no longer the mind, that you're the mind, and that's a victory. And then people get frustrated and they say, I can't meditate. Oh, really? Well, actually, you're doing it right. That's actually what meditation, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And then all of a sudden the body says, well, it's 8:15 now. This is when you normally, go get something to eat and you have your coffee and your body's starting to want to get up and do something. You become aware that your body wants to get up and move and you're in the meditation. And you tell your body, You bring it back to the present moment and you settle it back down. You are training the animal. That's a victory. Now you're executing a will that's greater than the program, because most people lose their free will to a program. Now you're telling the body, I'll tell you when we get up, not when you want to get up. You're not the mind, I'm the mind. And that's a victory. Now, we've done the research on this. If you keep doing this and you stay with it, sooner or later, the body's going to surrender to a new mind. And when that happens, Sean, there's a liberation of energy. The body is freed from those habituations and those emotions. The body's going from particle to wave, from matter to energy. And all of a sudden, you're dialing down the anger. You're dialing down the vigilance. And the body now is being conditioned to a new mind. That is the present moment. And when you're in that present moment, something really amazing happens. You forget about you. All of a sudden, you're not your face, you're not your culture, you're not your marital status, you're not your diet, you're not your past. You're basically just an awareness. You're in the unknown. And that is the perfect place to create from. So it turns out that when people do this properly, they heal themselves of anxiety. Why? Because they're no longer obsessing about some future. When they find the present moment, they heal from their depression because they're not a bit hopeless and powerless in their past. The body's conditioned now. And so then, when they overcome themselves in their meditation and they step out into their life, they are more present. They can connect. They are more patient. They are more loving because they overcome the animal part of themselves. And the beauty behind that is that all of a sudden, you're not predictable. All of a sudden, something's different about Sean. He's not, I'm noticing he's not behaving the same way. You're out of the known, right? You're in the unknown. And all of a sudden, it's no longer what you're saying to them. It's who you are. They're just kind of scratching their head going, hey, he looks like he's really happy. I want some of that. And now we're out of the philosophical, theoretical realm. We're in the practicum, which is where really the magic happens. So the eternal present moment, the sweet spot of the generous present moment, is the place we can create from. And when we're there, we disconnect from our bodies. We become nobody. We disconnect from people in our lives. We're not thinking about our ex or our boss. We are no one. We're not thinking about our cell phone, our computer. We are no thing. We are not thinking about where we live, where we work, where we sleep. We are nowhere. And we're not thinking about the predictable future and the familiar past. We're in no time. And when you're disconnecting or dissociating from everything known, you're in the unknown, and that's where the magic happens. So if you're sitting in your meditation and your brain is going, you can't quit, it's too hard, you're becoming familiar with those thoughts, that's a meditation. There's no such thing as a bad meditation. There's just overcoming yourself. You're sitting there and your body wants to get up and do things and check your email and check your texts, and you become aware that it's doing that, and you become familiar with that, you're in a meditation. If you're realizing that you're angry and frustrated and resentful and all you're doing is sitting there, that's in there. Now you're becoming familiar with that old self. That's a good thing. And if you start saying, what thoughts do I want to fire and wire in my brain, and you keep firing and wiring them, you're going to become familiar with those. You start reviewing who you're going to be when you open your eyes, and you keep reviewing it. You keep firing and wiring, it's going to become familiar to you. And if you trade resentment and impatience for gratitude and freedom and joy, and you start making those chemicals in your meditation every single day, I swear to you, you'll get familiar with that. So the process of change is unlearning and relearning. It is breaking the habit of the old self and reinventing a new self. And we use meditation as a way to change our brain and body to be different, be greater than the environment, be greater than our emotions and habits, and be greater than the predictable future and the familiar past. So meditation is a way then to get us in the right state of mind and body. So when we present ourselves to the world, we're a better expression of it. And then practicing and staying aware your entire day so that you can actually master something about yourself. Now, what's the side effect of that? You're more in love with you because you overcame you. And as you overcome, and you keep overcoming, you're going to become somebody else. And so the beauty behind that is then your life begins to change in really mysterious and unusual ways. And people say, oh my God, I was so happy I forgot about my back pain or my neck pain, or I forgot about my food allergies, or whatever people are dealing with. Something biologically shifts in them, and they're freer. They're more whole. They're less separate. They feel more pleased and satisfied with themselves, and they really don't care what people think of them. And they really stop judging other people because they're not judging themselves any longer. So you could only talk around these concepts. You really have to really apply them to really begin to see the fruits of your efforts. But common people around the world are doing the uncommon because of it. You'd have to step out of the classical physics of the Newtonian world, where we live in this realm of three-dimensional reality that we experience with our senses, and everything has height and depth and width, and we narrow our focus on the material world, and we navigate in this way. And this realm has an infinite amount of space. Space is eternal. And we experience time as we move through space. So we move from one point of awareness, I'm here, the door's over there, that's another point of awareness. And as I move my body from one point of consciousness to another point of consciousness, as I move through space, I experience time. So if we're going to create matter to matter, three-dimensional reality, and we're going to get things done, it's just going to take time for us to get the new house, the new car, because we got to work and save our money and do all that stuff. Well, that's playing by the rules of Newtonian physics and three-dimensional reality. When you play by the rules of the quantum, in the quantum, there's an infinite amount of time. Now, time is eternal. Now, imagine if you had an infinite amount of time, how many things could you get done? Infinite number of things equal to your thoughts, right? And that's the quantum. So the quantum is time is eternal, and there's all possibilities exist in the present moment in the quantum. So in three-dimensional reality, Newtonian physics, it's about the predictable. The quantum is immaterial. Nothing's local yet in space and time. All possibilities exist as frequency, as energy, as vibration, as information, as consciousness in the realm of thought. So in the quantum, anything is possible. And it's no different than looking in a dressing room where there's mirrors this way and mirrors this way, and you see an infinite number of yous. There's an infinite number of possible realities where one small thing has changed. Just one small thing. You shaved with your left hand today, that now you're in a different reality. You did your meditation, you connected, you come back, you just moved out of that dressing room, and now you're in a dressing room that looks just like that, but something's different. Your wife still looks the same, everybody looks the same, but all of a sudden, here's that phone call, here's that email, here's that opportunity. Now I'm in a new dimension, right? So in that quantum realm then, because it's non-local, we have to actually create not with our bodies. We have to dissociate from our bodies. We can't enter the quantum field as a somebody. We have to enter as a nobody. So teaching people how to pass through the eye of the needle is that moment they become nobody, no one, no thing, nowhere, no time. That's the moment they're pure consciousness. Now, teaching people how to create from the field instead of from matter has taken me many, many years. Yeah. But now people that are doing it are seeing those kind of instantaneous changes taking place, because when they begin to change their energy, and all potentials in the quantum field exist as electromagnetic potentials, and thoughts are the electrical charge and feelings are the magnetic charge, and how you think and how you feel is broadcasting information on a daily basis. So when a person changes their thoughts and feelings and they're creating from the field, when there's a vibrational match between their energy and that potential in the quantum field, and they're creating connected to the source, and that source energy is actually connecting everything material, they no longer have to go anywhere and get it. In fact, now they're actually going to collapse time and space, or the experience is going to be drawn to them. Now they're the magnet. That's when they start drawing experiences to them. Now they're not going anywhere to get them. Now they're coming to them. That's when it gets fun.